Hi guys, welcome to a new video, live from my car. It was just easier to do it this way. I can have more control over the sound and stuff generally, although there might be some road noises. I live on a fairly busy road, so I apologize for anybody that is listening with headphones. So just keep that in mind for the 5 people who probably have ever watched any of my videos. So I'm going to preface this video by saying that nothing I talk about in this video is important. Like, this is all like the most nitpicky of nitpicks ever. I'm talking about the packaging for CDs. It's a non-issue, but I just want to talk about some weird like inconsistencies and just kind of like annoying stuff that I've noticed over the years. So I'll just get into it a little bit. So the big problem that I have in general with CDs, like buying CDs, is how often bands will kind of like change up their standards when they're like releasing albums. So they'll have an album come out on a jewel case, right? And then they'll go to the digipack stuff. And the only reason it bothers me is because, like, if you're trying to collect all your CDs in some kind of like media center or like a tower or something like that, most of them don't account for bigger size CDs. Some of the newer ones have. I will admit, some of the newer ones, they give you a little bit more room to fit the wider CDs. This one's not a great example. This one actually fits fine. It's exactly the same width as a standard jewel case, so 9 Inch Nails is fine. There's other bands that are just way bigger offenders of this. But in general, it's just when you've got like an artist will release all of their albums on like a jewel case, and then they'll go to like a digipack. Things will get cheaper. The digipack will be like way wider, and it won't fit into your tower. And I don't know. I guess I just like stuff to be more consistent. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So, you know, you got ones that are like, okay, like Kanye's albums, they've always come out like on jewel cases for the most part. But even with him, I don't have a great example of him right off the top of my head, but I have a couple bands here that their albums have come out on like in two different forms, basically, depending on where you buy them from. So I have System of a Down's Hypnotize and Mesmerize, the double album. I mean, they were sold separately. They were sold like this, but you can put them together. They have a little thing that slides into the other one, so they were meant to be like slid in together. Let me put it back together here. Sorry. And you know, that's fine. You know, they were meant to be a double album, but they don't go with the rest of their discography on your shelf. If you want them all to be jewel cases, like me, you can go this route. This is a Russian version that I bought on eBay, which is just the album in a jewel case. Because yes, I'm dumb, I guess. It's just a waste of time and money, but whatever. I'm very particular about stuff when I can help it. I mean, there's cases where you can't. I mean, there's only one way to buy the album, and I'm not going to forego not buying an album from an artist I like, you know, if it means actually owning the album. But there's other cases where, weirdly, you get, like, very small release things where, like, an album did come out in a different format, or not a different format, but I don't even know what you call this, just different packaging. So, like, I have Metallica's Death Magnetic. This is where I bought mine at Walmart, like, way back in the day, when it first came out. You know, and you got the coffin thing that opens up, and it's got the little fold out and all that stuff, and this part folds over, and there's a CD. Then you've got the jewel case version, which is just the same thing. This the artwork is all the same stuff, the same pictures. It just doesn't have that fold out thing, right? So pretty similar. Same thing with Saint Anger. I'm probably one of the only people I can think of that actually purposely went out and bought Saint Anger again after knowing what it was. So I don't hate Saint Anger. It's not, you know, I get why everybody hates it. You know, it's not an album that I'm not like overly defensive about. Like if somebody told me, oh, worst album they ever made, I would not argue with that. You know what I mean? So, but I like Saint Anger enough that I bought it twice. So there's that. I will say though, as much as I'm complaining about, like, you know, putting effort and time into the packaging, sometimes when these booklets are really thick, they don't like to close very well. I have that problem with Linkin Park's Meteora. That book is so thick and it's like it barely wants to close. All right, what else do I have to show off or talk about? Okay, so not to be like a complete hater of jewel cases of digipacks, but certain bands have put all of their albums out on these digipacks, like Fleet Foxes. I think Sub Pop, just in general, Sub Pop does this type of packaging. And what I like is, for the most part, it's consistent. Now, even this, you'll notice, if you look at it, I have them all to the side. There's like a gap here. So this album is like shorter than the rest of these. I have a CD tower on my wall specifically for the digipack albums because they just don't fit together well in a standard CD tower. Which is really my biggest complaint about this whole thing. It's just that they just don't go together. I wish they would just like be like, okay, I'm a band, right? I have a band. I want all of my band's stuff to be cohesive, all in the same thing, if I can help it. But maybe that's just not possible. Maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that really cares about any of this. What else do I have to talk about? The last thing. This is probably a little bit more controversial, I'll admit. And I completely understand why some people would be completely against this. I own a couple albums that have not gotten a CD release. Either it only came out on vinyl or it only came out digitally. It never got a physical release. I've bought a couple bootlegs, admittedly. So I bought this one off of Etsy quite a while back. And this one's A$AP Rocky's Testing, and I just really like this album. So there's quite a few. I have quite a few in my collection. So I don't know how you feel about that. You know, that's up to the person. You know, I mean, you're stealing from the artist, technically. I get that. So that's totally up to, you know, personal discretion. I will admit, I mean, every album that I've bought a bootleg of, I own the album digitally. I've bought it in any way that I can. I feel maybe slightly better about myself morally, having given them money. Certain artists, I've bought a bootleg and I don't own the actual, like I didn't buy it digitally I just didn't care. I'm sorry. That makes me a bad person. I'm guilty as charged, I guess. So, the last one I have example of is just like a deluxe case where I have Slayer's, this is Christ Delusion. You have the deluxe version. And then you have just the standard CD version. This one I bought just because I like the artwork of the original album better. You can't really see it because I have the thing over there, but you could Google it if you actually really want to look at it. So I think the only difference is the one has a DVD with like music videos and it has like one extra song. So by and large, it's the same album. So only go for it if you really, really want that extra song and you're really into Slayer. So I feel like I never have a point with any of my videos. I just kind of wanted to just blab. I did find out recently, though, that Soundgarden's King Animal got a jewel case, which I was very surprised about because this album is like very, very new. This is like 2012. And I really like Soundgarden. And I had somehow not picked this up, and I went to like search it on eBay. And this was one of the top ones, and it said jewel case version. I was like, oh, I'll go with the rest of mine, because I I own the rest of Soundgarden's discography, and they're all jewel cases. So it's perfect for somebody like me who's just weird and anal about pointless things. So, this is probably going to be the last music-related video I make for a while. I know I've been, like, the last video I made was about Brockhampton, and a couple years ago, before I, like, didn't upload for 2 years, it was also about Brockhampton. But I do want to talk about other stuff, you know, somewhat tangentially related to, like, physical media and stuff like that, but, you know, not necessarily about music. So, I do want to make some more discography rankings at some point, because, I enjoy doing that. I like ranking things. I like talking about, you know, just discussing, you know, how I feel about stuff, you know. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye.